Hi, I'm Denise, and it's great to have you back at Inside the Mind Meditations for Part 34, Stage 3 on the 8 bodies. Once the meditation begins, if you find you have difficulty keeping up with it, you may want to begin with, say, podcast number 2 so you can build the stamina to do proper meditation. And should you wish to start with an easier meditation and or contemplation, the link to the Inside the Mind Meditations library is in the notes below the podcast for your convenience. As well, there are many other interesting things which may help you on your journey. For those who wish to skip the meditation without contemplation, please do. But it's suggested that one listen to the contemplation for personal growth, as without that, meditation is simply not everything it could be. And just a reminder to not operate heavy machinery or drive while meditating. Also, please be aware that while meditating, it's okay to be interrupted briefly 3 times before having to begin again. So to begin today, I'd like to say, sorry is the man of action who has given no thought to his actions, but only to the completion of the task. For no rise is achieved without thought. As discussed before in earlier contemplations, when we correct, balance, and cleanse the first 3 bodies, the 4th, 5th, and 6th naturally rise, essentially giving birth to the 7th, or casual body, where transformation takes place, giving rise to the 8th. Some teachings teach of 10 or 12 bodies, but for our purposes now, we will focus on the Taoist teachings of 8. Although, it wouldn't be actually fair to say that one is correct and the other not. They're just different ways of teaching. So, all is correct. So about the bodies, the first body, as we have learned, is the physical body, the chi that makes it work and live. The second body is the lower emotional body, which is basically primal emotions like anger, fear, and other not so positive energies, which serve self without consideration for others. Lust included, which is different from the desire which rises out of an intimate exchange. The third body is the lower mental body, which gives rise to supporting false thoughts, which reinforce the lower emotions and basically plot in their favor for destruction when the energy is reversed. However, when balanced and not threatened, the third body gives thought to such things as that is a house, this is a car, and this is how I drive the car, and other things which may be of use in daily function. The fourth body is the higher mental body, which rises when the negativity of the third is cleared, and when the fourth body begins to form. It is used for concrete, constructive thoughts and the capacity for analytical or abstract thinking, allowing for higher understanding and mental functions for the perception of the nature of things. The fifth and sixth bodies encompass the energies of the higher emotional body and also the psychic body until they grow and touch the emptiness of the seventh or casual body, where transformation takes place, allowing the great stillness of the eighth body. The 3 treasures are Jing, which is essence, Qi, which is energy, and Shen, which is spirit. Qi is the commingling of the 2 different energies. One, which runs your lower mental body and gives you the ability to think. 2, the energy which allows you the ability to perceive higher emotions that have nothing to do with self, like compassion and unconditional love. Within Taoism, the raw energy of the physical body, Jing, is refined and converted to Qi. Shen is spirit, the third treasure which arises when we move into the depths of our awareness and essence to the core of our being. You can actually feel this energy as you can feel it in others, but in a different way. It is a strong vibration. Um, and in deep stages of meditation, sometimes we can feel the vibration of our Shen, our spirit. And when such person is in a state of meditation, sometimes we can feel that energy reflect off of them, and we can feel it as a physical pulse onto ourselves. However, um, with Qing, the body is either weak or strong. Qi, the emotional or mental state, is either weak or strong. And Shen, uh, once again, is like a vibration, a pulse within and outside the body, which arises through the balance of love and is either nourished with love or killed by hate. So it too can be weak or strong. With Shen, one becomes spiritually alive and connected to self, others, and the environment in a unified and deeply profound way. A way in which, instead of being the many drops that make the ocean, one is now the one drop which makes the ocean. There is no separation, no identity, only all. So one also gains the ability to heal with this energy. And that would be within the first three bodies, healing the first three bodies, and giving rise to the casual body, and thus the eighth as well. Reaching this phase, we recognize the illusion of all things, the lack of solidity in things solid, which really are 90% space anyway. So in reality, everything and anything are only ghosts in our dimension, which we perceive as solid through an agreement that we have made as a collective whole. And we begin to understand that there is no difference in being nothing and being everything, or being emptiness and having form. All are the same. It takes a lot of practice to get to this point, but once there, as with all other stages, at first we see glimpses of emptiness and fullness, moving back and forth until we become aware, and that awareness keeps us growing if we keep working at it. Similarly, when we reach the stage, everything around us begins to change, including our relationship with all things. And as we grow and continue to change, so do those relationships. What once disturbed us no longer does. Instead, we might see the old beast, the person that we used to call the old beast, who used to make us shake in our boots as a child. When we see him now, we realize he's someone who needs to be spoken to in a certain way to correct the confusion that he holds. And that's not always possible, but at least we can correct the confusion within ourselves. And although we would not choose to live our lives in such a way as the said beast does, we now have more diverse communication skills and can communicate him in a way that he possibly understands, or at least a way that allows us to have deeper understanding. Whereas before, we couldn't do any of that. And so as we grow, we welcome the opportunity to communicate in this way, as it allows us to measure self and to grow while improving the world around us. And like all other things, excuse me, as with all other things, this growth comes and goes. We move into it and then lapse back into habit. But we keep working for a greater command of self so we eventually become better. And as we become better and continue to grow, it doesn't mean we lose all humor and never laugh again or experience some emotions, as some might lead one to believe. It only means we recognize self and also ego, and we now command what once swept us away, or we stopped until it became frozen within. And as we grow, we experience things more fully. When emotions arise, we disperse them rather than being dominated by them. We welcome the moments as we learn new depths of sincerity in different ways that were once foreign to us. So challenges are not just challenges anymore, they're gifts. It takes a lot of time to get to this space, and we do it by learning and understanding truth and honesty in all things, including ourselves. And this form of meditation is called the water method. Just like water cleanses the body, this practice cleanses the 8 to 12 bodies, whatever you are practicing, and as part of your studies. I suppose it's called the water method, as aside from 90% space that our physical bodies are made of, we are also made up of largely water. And of course, we are made up of energy too, which gives rise to other teachings, as with the fire method, and also as with the water and all other teachings. Many differences, but very similar to one another. The water method is much more gentle than the fire method, in which things are done with force. Force, as with the fire method, creates resistance, which can break. Water, which does not use force but flow instead, must be directed with ease. And some are drawn to the fire method, others to the water method. One is not better than the other. Both are within the other, so it's good to try both so you can know what is suitable to you and what you are naturally inclined to. Personally, I find the water method much more suitable to healing, and that's why I teach it. As we move forward in other meditations, I will teach a bit of fire, but will mostly stay with water simply because healing takes place easier without force and at 70% capacity. For instance, you might need force to set a bone that is broken, but once set, the bone heals in a restful state. And with most things, force is not something we need, but only apply when necessary. Moreover, if you'll note, just thinking about force creates tension, whereas thinking of flow, like the flow of water, offers release. Tension feels heavy, release feels light. Force eventually exhausts, while flow eventually rests. Yin and yang. Sometimes one is required and sometimes the other. So we rest to gain the force in a very subtle way that we need for work, basically because rest is where true strength is found. Similarly, we rest when we need to heal, as a different strength is found in rest than that of force. And just as well, we have to remember the mental body and to nourish it. Thus, we contemplate to gain greater understanding of all things and to master self and command the heart over the mind. Or one might say, command the mind through the heart. But the most important thing is to heal the mind so that it can guide us in daily life rather than destroy us. Let's activate our chi now by laying down on our backs and rubbing the palms of our hands together at the same time we rub the soles of the feet together, creating enough heat to activate all 2,000 nerve endings throughout the entire body. And having done that, please sit with the spine straight and move into prayer pose with about 5 pounds of pressure as you press the palms of your hands together, and another 5 as you press the sides of the thumbs into the breastbone. Fingers pressed firmly together and angled out from the body at 60 degrees. And activate the thyroid now by closing your eyes 9/10 of the way and staring at the tip of your nose, again crossing your eyes. And now we will tune in to the divine wisdom of Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. 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 And now, while still in prayer pose and while still activating the thyroid, set your intention with great, sincere feeling through the heart. And as you set your intention, I want you to feel all the love you have in your heart for those you ask for and also for yourself. And begin with, I ask whatever for myself and for whomever else, and also the entire universe. And then feel your intention deeply within your heart. And when you finish, conclude with, I thank you and I love you. So let's set our intention now. And now, staying in prayer pose and while keeping the thyroid activated, let's conclude with the protection prayer, which is always wise as we further meditation. Akre Nameh, Chakra Nameh, Sakre Nameh, Siri Devay Nameh. Akre Nameh, Chakra Nameh, Sakre Nameh, Siri Devay Nameh. Akre-me, chakre-me, sakre-me, sirigru-deve-me. And now, while still holding the feeling of great gratitude in your heart, allowing your heart chakra to open, please lay flat on your back with your spine straight, hands beside the hips, palms up, and allow your eyes to rest comfortably as you settle in and make any last-minute adjustments for physical comfort. And now, observe your surroundings and the objects within the room. Close your eyes and notice any sounds now. And once settled, observe, does the body feel heavy or light, tense or at ease? And now allow your mind to wander for a moment, wrapping up any thoughts you might have for the day, or possibly even reviewing the events of the day with one word only, beginning in the morning until now. And as your mind begins to wander, observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment while remaining aware of the body. And feel the weight of the body as it sinks onto the surface you are lying on. And observe the points of contact for the head, shoulders, back, hips, arms and hands, legs and feet. And feel your body settle in comfortably and focus on the breath, becoming aware of its natural state. And observe, is the breath deep and full or shallow and tense? And now begin deep circular breathing at 100% capacity for 10 breaths, with each inhale counting as 1 and each exhale counting as 2, and so on until you reach 10 and begin again. Inhale through the nose, filling the entire stomach, and then expand the breath into the chest, counting the inhale as 1, and exhale through the mouth, allowing the body to collapse as the breath leaves, as the second breath, and so on until 10. And as you do this breath work, try to keep the inhale equal to the exhale. And with the next breath, allow your breath to return to normal. And place your hands comfortably over the pelvis with your palms resting flat, while your fingers barely touch tips and also your thumbs touch tips, without any effort or even the slightest tension as you hold this mudra over your second chakra. And close your eyes and look up and out through the third eye, activating the pituitary gland by crossing the eyes as you look out into the distance. And allow the body to breathe naturally while remaining aware of the body and breath, but comfortably retaining focus on the third eye. And if there's too much tension on the eyes, look slightly out more into the distance where it's more comfortable. Observe your thoughts as they come and go, noting pleasant, not pleasant, or neutral. And if a thought persists, label with one word and return to the focus on the breath. And notice the feelings these thoughts create within the body. And as you notice how these thoughts and feelings feel in the body, become aware of where they are attached to. And as you notice where the energy, these thoughts and feelings are attached to within the body, notice the areas of the body that are in complete comfort and not attached to any thought, feeling, or emotion. And moving into 70% breath capacity, let's begin internal breathing now. With your eyes softly closed, place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth at the heart palate, located right behind the teeth in a very relaxed manner, and relax all the muscles in your face. And starting with at least 2 breaths for each stage of awareness, begin by feeling the breath as though it moves through a tube through the center of the body, starting by becoming aware of the first stage of breath as the breath moves from the tip of the nose, over the nose hairs, and through the nose, and then as the breath passes out again through the nose on the exhale. And becoming progressively aware of the breath in stages, follow the breath from your nose to the back of the throat, and then out again. Now follow the breath from the tip of the nose to the back of the throat and into the lungs without expanding the chest, while keeping the breath at 70%. And following the same pattern from the nose to the throat to the lungs, follow the breath now into the solar plexus. And this time, follow the breath from the tip of the nose, through the nose, to the back of the throat, the lungs, solar plexus, and into the navel, and out again through the nose. And following the breath from the tip of the nose, throat, lungs, solar plexus, navel, follow the breath now into the second chakra, located right between the navel and the crest of the pelvis. And continue breathing in and out with the tip of the tongue on the hard palate, face relaxed, inhaling through the nose at 70%, and following the breath through the body to the second chakra, and then exhale through the nose at 70%. And do this for 10 breaths, 10 full breaths with each inhale and exhale, counting as one full breath. And when you reach 10 full breaths, begin again And keeping the inhale equal to the exhale and staying relaxed with tongue in position, begin tri-breath at 70% for each 3 breaths, counting as 1. Count inhale as first breath, exhale as second breath, and so on until you reach 10, and then begin again. However, if you lose count with tri-breath, begin again at 1. And continuing at 70% capacity, move to quad breath, or 4 breaths as 1, with each set of 2 inhales and exhales counting as 1, and then the next set as 2. So it is like inhale, exhale as first breath, and the same for second breath until you reach 10, and then begin again. And if you lose count, begin again at 1. And now move to 5 breaths, that's 1, and continue at 70% capacity with inhale, exhale as first breath, and exhale for second breath, and so on until you reach 10. And keep in mind, odd numbers begin and end with an inhale, while even numbers begin and end with an exhale. And now let's do 6 breaths as one for 3 sets of inhales and exhales as one breath, and so on until you reach 10. And if you begin again, if you lose count, begin again at 1. And now let's do 7 breaths as one for 3 sets of inhales and exhales plus 1 inhale as first breath, and 1 exhale plus 3 sets of inhales and exhales as second breath, and so on until you reach 10. Remember, odd numbers begin and end with inhales, while even numbers begin and end with exhales. And now let's do 8 breaths as one for 4 sets of full breaths as one breath, and so on until you reach 10, so that each breath is inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale as first breath, as one, and second, and so on until you reach 10. And if you lose count, begin again at 1. Otherwise, if you reach 10, begin again. And now let's do 9 breaths as 1 for 4 sets of full breaths plus 1 inhale as first breath. And second breath, beginning with an exhale plus 4 full breaths until we reach 10, so that each breath is inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale as first breath. And exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale as second breath, and so on until you reach 10. If you lose count, begin again. Otherwise, when you reach 10, return to soft breath, where there is no gap between breaths and the inhale is equal to the exhale. And now turn the attention to the body and begin natural breathing while keeping the spine and head straight. Let the points that want attention guide you. Notice the areas of discomfort as you feel the body from deeply within as a whole. And if there are no areas of discomfort, simply stay focused on the feeling of the core of your body as your breath moves in and out until you can feel the body's energy fill. And don't worry if you cannot feel this energy yet, or if the mind drifts, as it will come when all blocks are removed. However, if you notice areas of discomfort in the body, realize they are just frozen energy manifesting in form within the body, and focus on these areas through feeling. Do not visualize them, simply feel them. And as you feel the areas of discomfort, stay focused on the areas until they melt from the outside in as ice does when it melts and turns to water. And as you feel the frozen energy turn into water, if the areas are on the bottom side of the body, allow yourself to feel the water become warm and drip away from the body fully 2 feet out where it can disperse. Feel it, do not visualize it. And if the frozen areas are on the top, allow yourself to feel them melt, heat, begin to sizzle, boil, and turn to steam, and rise away from the body again 2 feet out where the areas of energy can dissipate. And if one area calls for attention most, give your attention to that area and then move to each area that calls next. And do not worry for drifting off, as much happens in space as it does in solidity. But as you work, become aware of the balance of the third eye, breath, and body, and allow the frozen energies to disperse or your energy field to expand. Make sure your head is straight and not turned slightly to one side or another. And as you are completely open by now, I want you to close the lotus around you. Do it by feeling, no visualization. And please get back into the body now by feeling your points of contact. Become aware of your hands and fingers, feet and toes, arms and legs, torso, shoulders, neck and head. Become aware of the sounds around you. And open your eyes and view your surroundings and the objects within the room. And after giving great gratitude for the day, tomorrow, and all week long, while holding the feeling of joy in your heart, you may rise or go to sleep when you are ready. And if you wish to rise, turn your head or body to the left. And if you wish to sleep, Turn your head or body to the right. And as we conclude today, I'd like to say some of you may have noticed that my voice cracks as I'm guiding meditation from time to time. And some of you may be irritated by this, but to me, not only is it a part of your lesson in meditation and holding your own, but it's also a celebration, as in, I believe it's October 2nd, 2016, I was given 2 days to live. No possible hope, no possible cure. When I didn't die, I was sent home to die upon my request rather than being sent to a unit to die. Well, obviously I lived, and doctors still ask me how I healed, as it was impossible. I have restored my health through deep meditation, which I have practiced for 45 years by now, and at least 1 to 3 hours a day. But when sick, sometimes up to 12 hours a day, as is necessary for healing. I have many other meditations to teach around this, but these are the fundamentals of all meditation, and much healing can be done with these meditations that I'm teaching now. My life journey isn't over, so since I came so close to death and wasn't actually sure if I would make it, I thought to make these podcasts and share them with others as my gift to the world. Healing should be free. So remember your paramita, meditation and active living, and get into the body and then your space before rising, and be aware of challenging situations before you move into them. Be aware of self and all things, mind, body, and emotions. Practice paramita on both challenging people and those you love, and also yourself. And also now, when you eat something, so that you can learn to hold it. Not your food, but the meditation, the active meditation. And remember, as you observe yourself and others without judgment, to recognize thoughts or feelings, pleasant, not pleasant, or neutral. Label reoccurring thoughts with one word and note if they are a shared or a unique experience. And when you are not in a neutral space, measure how far away you are, away in either positive or negative space, while continually returning to the neutral space and remaining aware of where neutral space is. So important to know where neutral is. And not only within our mind, but also within our body and also our emotions. And at the end of the day, do a quick overview to see how well you did. And I wish you all the blessings in the world. So it was wonderful to have you here again with us today. And if you were able to keep up and fully experience meditation, please move forward. Otherwise, drop back to the beginning podcast and begin again. And remember, you can pick up any of these meditations at any time, any of the stages within the basics, and do those. Meditation is healing. Anyway, many blessings to you. And of course, I'm doing this over the holidays, so happy holidays too.